Hello guys, my name is Theo Goff and today I'm going to teach you the secret strategy, what I used and what you can use today to overcome all your daily challenges you have of dyslexia and going after you want despite having something you think holds you back, despite having dyslexia. And in this training we're going to teach you exactly how to overcome all these challenges and a lot more. Overcome challenge of completing work tasks on time, not being able to read emails or write emails. Social anxiety is a massive one. I remember I used to suffer with that a lot. Getting lost is also really awful. Not understanding lessons, finding it hard to communicate to others, and loads of other challenges we have as dyslexics. And now we're going to go through all this, and I'm going to teach you in-depth sort of strategies that you can use to kind of see all these challenges you have and a process you can use to overcome all your daily challenges, all those little challenges you have every single day that other people may not appreciate. And sometimes it can seem normal to have these challenges every single day. And we can go into that. But first off, I want to start by appreciating you. I want to start by saying, look, I've known how hard it is. I've had so many days. I still have daily challenges. Challenges don't go away. But in this training, we're going to teach you how to deal with the challenges, so they don't stop you. So they don't stop you in this track. So they don't limit you anymore. So you have the process to when these things coming up of like, oh my God, I can't write this email, or I can't complete this piece of work, or I can't go for that job. I can't do this particular task. Instead of stopping in your tracks saying, okay, I can't do that because of my dyslexia, having your dyslexia win, instead of that being you can say, okay, here's my challenge. Yes, it's hard. Here are the things I'm struggling with. And here's the process I'm going to use to fix those. Here's the process I'm going to use to overcome this challenge, to grow more, to learn more, to become more. And in this training, we can go through that. How do I feel like when I'm giving this training? I always starts back with how did I overcome my challenges, or what's the process I use to overcome all my daily challenges? Because I remember the only reason why I'm doing this is because I realised how to overcome massive hurdles, what I felt, and actually thrive in the face of fear, thrive in the face of what everyone would think, oh no, he would fail in this situation, but I learned to thrive in those situations. I'm going to teach the strategy of how I did it. Because I spent my whole life growing up in special needs school. I was in special needs school from year 3 to year 11, a dyslexic school, amazing school, for 8 years of my life. And I left there at year 11. I couldn't wait to leave, to be quite honest, because I had the same teachers, same 25 full-time teachers, sometimes they left, and basically the same 50 kids every single day. And I left there to go in a big, massive sixth form, over 1,000 kids in. And it was like a boxing sixth form because I was into boxing and fitness at the time, and I still am. But I went to that, and I was so excited to go. And this excitement lasted for about 3 hours when I was in that place. Because after 3 hours of being at my sixth form, I realised, oh my God, I don't know anyone's name. I don't know where I'm going. I get lost all the time. I don't know what the hell's happening in lessons. I don't know, people are having jokes and are communicating. I don't know how to do that. I never got taught, I'd never seen this new world. And I started to close in on myself massively. Because I started to feel like that sad, lonely kid that couldn't communicate to the world when I was 6 years old. Because I couldn't talk, I felt the same. I had this really bad stutter. That started coming back. I was scared about a speech impediment. And before long, I wouldn't speak to anyone all day. I would revert myself back into the shy and lonely kid. And these happen because of my insecurities. Because I end up trying to say something in the conversation. People are talking. I was trying to interject something. They looked at me like, what the hell are you on about? Because I didn't understand this. like social communications. And I've always been bad at talking to talking to more than one person at a time, because I just can't keep track of the conversation. I can't do certain things. I would try and I would fail and look embarrassed. And it would get to the point where I'd just come into school that day, like, oh, there's my group of kids, they're like all the other boxes. I'd walk over to them and I'd stand near them, and I would just stand in the wrong place. I would get too close or too far away and try and join in, and it'd be awful. And then after all these scenarios happening where I felt so lonely and I felt so like I couldn't communicate with people, and I couldn't like express myself. I wasn't speaking to anyone all day. I remember on the bus home, my mouth physically used to hurt because I never used to open it. I never used to smile and use these muscles we have. I remember going home and just sitting down in my chair and just crying and getting annoyed with myself, saying, this can't be it. This can't be the rest of my life. This can't be the rest of 2 years of being at sixth form. I'm going to have to do something to change. Because before then, I was living quite a good, happy life in my little school. I knew everyone. I felt like who I was. I knew my identity. I had loads of friends. But this was new. This was scary. And I made a decision right there, right then. I was sitting on a chair. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn to be confident. I'm going to learn it. So basically what I did, and this great resource that we have nowadays is YouTube. I got out YouTube on my iPad and started typing in confidence videos and how to speak to girls. I was watching all these videos about how you can walk up and talk to girls, get the number, how you can be confident. I was watching these videos every night for about an hour before I went to bed. And I started watching all these things to do. So okay, I can try and do that, I can try and do that. And there's things about, pretend you're standing in a confidence circle and you step in a confidence circle and you feel confident. Well, I tried that. I was in sixth form in the morning, and then I was like, okay, this is my confidence circle, step in it. Nothing happened. I didn't feel any different. I was like, okay, just try and imagine yourself confident. Just imagine it. I was like, okay, I imagine myself confident. Nothing worked. I was really trying. And I felt like I'm doing everything I can, but yet I'm not learning anything. I'm not being confident. I was like, what's the missing piece? Something's missing here. And I felt this for about a month, until I clipped this one video just before I was about to go to bed. I remember it was like stormy, rainy outside, it's like the middle of winter, and I was clipping this one video. I was tired, just kind of hard boxing training, and this video came on, and I thought I'd just click on it. And there's the guy standing there. He had this big, broad shoulders, and he had this spotty face, and he had, when he talked, you know how some people have got that like rispy, raspy tone in their voice, like, oh, that person drinks quite a lot, and he had red face. And I was like, this person drinks quite a lot, it looks like he's an alcoholic. There's nothing I can learn from him. And as I was watching it, I was just about to turn my iPad off and go to bed. But literally, I'm not joking, just before I'm about to press the button, he said these words. He said, look, the only way to change your life is to take responsibility for your life. In that moment, no joke, in that moment my whole life changed like that. I can still feel it now. The hairs on my whole body started standing up, and my whole body started vibrating, because I realised something that's so true. I realised ultimately I got myself here, and I'm the only one to get myself where I want to be. What I mean by saying I got myself here, meaning I done certain actions to get myself here. Yes, I had certain circumstances like my school, my this, but it's my sort of actions within this time frame to get myself here who made me here. If I decided to do different actions, if I decided to take different clubs, if I decided to push myself and talk to different people, I would be in a different result than I am right now. And the only for me to get to where I want to go is for me to take different actions. It's only up to me to do it. And guess what? I realised it's possible for someone like me to be confident. Because how do I know that? Because I've seen story after story on these confidence videos about these people having such low confidence and then improving it. It's like, if they can do it, so can I. So I knew it was possible, and I knew I could do it. And I knew, look, I have to do it because I had so much pain. And I realised I have to take different steps. Maybe uncomfortable, maybe pushing outside my comfort zone, but those is what I had to do. And when I watched that video, I got obsessed. Now this person who told me it was called Tony Robbins, and I got obsessed with watching every single one of his videos I can find. I was watching all these things, and I got one of his personal power programs off of YouTube completely for free. It's not there anymore, I think it might have been illegal. But I was listening to that. They're every single day on the bus, on the train, when I was working out. All the time I was listening to that. In class when we were working on like a BTEC in sixth form, when like 16, 17, everyone else had their earphones and listening to music, listening to the top 40 playlist of the UK. I was there in my headphones learning about life, learning how life works and how you believe what you believe right now and how everything controlled with your mind and how the strategy you can change it. I was listening to all this stuff and I was growing, and you know what? My confidence changed like that. After I'd done certain strategies with the mindset of belief I can do it, I'll do whatever it takes to do it, I learned confidence. Because I started getting up at 3 a.m. every morning, doing something called my hour of power, where I get up, where I think of things to be grateful for, think of things I want to have happen, and then do incantations. Like every day and every day I'm getting more and more confident and doing all of this stuff. And then when I was doing all this stuff, things changed in me. My beliefs changed, my biochemistry changed, because I would do different things, I would act differently. Because beforehand, when in class I'd sit down, I'd go like that, shoulders down, head slumped, breathing shallow. But now I got in, I'd force myself to stand up, shoulders back, breathing fully, and say what the first thing comes to my head. So when I say that, I'll push myself, I could be more authentic because who I am. Because I know who I was, because I knew who I was acting at home. I knew who I was acting in my dyslexia school. That's who I am, that's who I act without any fear. That's who I act when I feel comfortable. So I just decided to act myself that way. And you know what, it's feeling amazing, all this stuff. And then I've worked on improving my confidence, worked on improving basically what I want to do in life. Like, I'm going to do all these different things. I know I have dyslexia, it'll be hard, but I believe I can do it, because you can do anything, right? And I was doing all this stuff. I was really working really hard on my boxing. I was winning loads of boxing fights. Until this happened. Now, this was about 6 months into my journey of taking responsibility of my life. And now this is a really interesting story. And I think this thing will be so valuable to you. Is that, I remember this is my second year of sixth form. I was going through it, I was doing so many things. I started going to loads of seminars, I started speaking to loads of people, making loads of new connections outside of school. I was like, I want to be a life coach, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Until something happened at school. The Isenko sort of like special needs coordinator pulled me in, sat me down, and she was head of English there. She said, Theo, you're going to do a GCSE English this year. I looked at her, I was like, what? You're joking, like, miss? She looked at me and said, no, Theo, you're going to do a GCSE English. We think with the right help and support, you can get there and we can make you pass. I laughed in her face. I was like, miss, do you understand? I spent 8 years of my life in a dyslexic school, in the worst English lessons that in the lowest of the low English lessons, and the best help, the best one-to-ones, the best tutor. I could only scrape past the functional skills that's nowhere near a GCSE level. If they couldn't do it, how the hell do you think you can help me pass it? I was laughing again, and then she was saying, no, Theo, if you put enough time, enough effort, we believe you can do it. I looked and I laughed and I walked away. And for the next couple of weeks I didn't go in the English classrooms. I barely went in. When I went in, I was sitting down, I was slumped back, watching my English lessons go past, kind of having fun, because I couldn't learn in that environment. I know I couldn't learn. I knew at this point it was a useless journey based upon my belief that I couldn't learn. And then here's the kicker. The second teacher, the same woman, pulled me in about 3 or 4 weeks later saying, look, you've got to do half your lessons, you ain't doing any of the work, you're not doing any of the homework. What's happening? How can we help you understand that you have different? That's why you meet women once a week. You mean one-to-one. That's why you do all these different things. What can we do to help you? You have to start moving your way. You have to start having to kick up your own bum to do these things. I said, look, I've had all the help and support. This hasn't helped. You can't help me. I know myself. I know I tried my whole life to improve it, and I've only done it millimeters. And I won't be able to improve it drastically for this little test. I was saying that, and so it's like, why do you think that? Why do you think that? I remember her saying that, and I responded, just before I was about to answer, I stopped, and then I said it. I said, Miss, I believe I can't learn English. This is a critical distinction, I want you to hear this. I said, I believe I can't learn English. And then things started getting emotional. Because I knew inside my head that it was a belief. Instead of saying it's a fact, like I cannot improve English, I said, I believe I can't. Why do I believe I can't? based upon my experiences of the past. Based upon all the things I've tried and failed in the past. That's why I believe this thing. And I realised that, look, it's a belief. And ultimately, beliefs can be changed. Believing is ultimately a choice, a thing we've created. It's not fact. There's a difference between belief and a belief is just an opinion, but fact is real. Fact is there. The fact is I have dyslexia, but it's my opinion that I can't improve my English. So I realised this. I started getting emotional, and in my head, in the middle of the meeting, this little voice said in my head, what if? What if you can learn English? What if you give it everything you got to improve your English? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You give it everything you got, you try as hard as you can for a year, and yet you barely improve your English? Guess what? You prove yourself right. But once you give it everything you got, and you prove yourself wrong, I was thinking that. And on the way back, I was just thinking over and over and over again. Like, what if I can do it here? What if I can pass a C in English? What if I can defy all of my past between all the people saying, look, English can be hard, you won't be able to pass it, just try these little bits at a time. What if I could defy all my past, all my beliefs about myself? And what if I could prove to myself that I will not let my dyslexia stop me? What if I could prove to everyone else as well that I will not let dyslexia stop me? They don't have to let dyslexia stop them. And I got incredibly motivated. I texted my mum on the way home. I was like, Mum, have you got a notebook? She's like, no, why? I was like, I need it to learn English. She's like, oh my God, what's happened to it? And we got out, we bought a notebook, and I called it Screw My Dyslexia. Because I literally spend 3 hours a day on that damn notebook, writing in, because all the words that I spelled incorrectly on my BTEC, I couldn't spell correctly, I would say them into my phone on Siri, have the right correct, and spell that in on the computer, and I would have a list of all the words on my little notebook, Screw Dyslexia notebook. 3 hours a day on the bus, on the train up to London to go boxing, all the way back, on the way to school, on the way to home. I'd go through this little Screw Dyslexia notebook, and I'd see all these words and say them over and over and over again in such intensity. Do that. I was in school an hour earlier, left school an hour late, working my English. And guess what? After such intensity, focus and work, within less than 1 year, I passed my GCSE English at C level, which is unbelievable compared to where I came from. And also, what's even better than that, I improved statistically, I improved my reading and writing ability 500% more in 1 year, having little to no help compared to 8 years of the best help in the world. And that's why I'm saying this to you now. That's why I'm on this camera to you now, saying this stuff. Because all these challenges you have, you can solve them. All these challenges you have, you can solve them with a certain strategy I'm going to teach you on how to approach problems so you can turn your problems into opportunities, so you can turn your problems to make you a stronger person. So powerful. So are you ready to... Hold on. So I got my notes. So are you ready to go through this? Are you ready to learn, to defy all your past experience of trying and failing? And when you say, okay, this is the past, and I realise something, I realise that the past doesn't equal the future. And you go forward and you listen to it for the next half an hour or so, or however long we're teaching this, and you really write down all the different notes we have, and you really go forward with it and say, okay, I'm going to defy this, I'm going to conquer my dyslexia, I'm going to do whatever it takes, I'm going to be an example to myself that I will not let dyslexia stop me. Having all these challenges you have right now, how to overcome them, all these challenges of not being able to complete work, of failing on tests, or feeling nervous, all these challenges, everyday challenges you have, are you ready to overcome them once and for all? Good, let's get started. So, the first step in really overcoming all these challenges is taking responsibility of your life. It's this simple. First step is taking responsibility for your life. And I don't mean taking responsibility like you've heard it 1,000 times before and you agree saying, yes, I take responsibility. Think, okay, I take responsibility means it's my fault the way things go, and sometimes you feel really stressed and you feel really angry and you try really, really hard. I'm going to take responsibility of my English, and you've been working really hard on improving it, then it's failed and you've gave up. And it's fine to give up, but the reason why you gave up is because of the wrong strategy you've had. Not because you can't learn English. And when I say take responsibility, I meaning, look, this is your life. You can improve your English. You can solve these challenges, because guess what? People with dyslexia in the past have solved the exact same challenge as you. So if they can do it, you can do it, and it is possible. And the only way you can do it is you. No one else will get you there for you. No one else will hold your hand up mounting in doing this. I can't hold your hand. I can give you the exact strategies I used to do it. I can tell and the strategies I used to teach other dyslexics to do it. But you're the one that has to put in the work. You're the one that has to say, okay, it's my responsibility, and if I don't do this, this is what's going to cause my life. This is the pain that I'll have. The pain of missed opportunities, of missed things, missed happiness. And here's the pleasure I'll get if I do it, if I take responsibility, if I accomplish this thing, or for the love, of the joy, or the extra experiences. And you have to really realise that, and that's the foundation of taking responsibility for your life. Because what's the difference between Walt Disney and Walt Disney? What's the difference between Tom Cruise and Tom Snooze? What's the difference between Albert Einstein and Albert Einstein? Now, if you know these people, you know they're dyslexic. And if you don't know the other people, it's alright, no one knows the other people. But I'm saying, these two groups of people, they're both dyslexic, but one of them decided to take responsibility for their life and has had a strategy and had a way to overcome their daily challenges they have of reading, of writing, of communicating to the world and succeeding. They could overcome those challenges themselves and make a successful life. And the other group of people didn't take responsibility, didn't do whatever it took to overcome those challenges and live the most extraordinary life, so therefore you don't know their name, therefore they let dyslexia use them. So I've decided to use dyslexia. So step number one is so key. You have to take responsibility for your life. And my definition is what I sort of made up in the start. If you look at life, if you want a good life, there's one thing I think you have to do. Take responsibility. Now what does it mean? Is take control over everything in your life you have control over. What do you have control over? Your mental focus, your beliefs, the meanings you pull from situations, the stories you tell yourself, your values, what you do as a career, where you spend your time, who your friends, who do you get in a relationship with. Now all these are massively important decisions we make, but ultimately you can make them consciously or subconsciously. We can get into this, but we can get into how subconsciously we've created our whole life. And sometimes with life, of our own beliefs and our own values, we create subconsciously. We didn't sit down one day and have a big spreadsheet, and decide, what are my beliefs and what are my values going to be for the rest of my life? No, we didn't do that. We have our beliefs and values based on our experiences of the past. And if you have dyslexia, I know exactly how you feel, and the experiences of the past are painful, aren't they? Are struggling all the times that you tried and failed in school, tried and failed in class. And this is part of you that you failed so many times and you failed so many times, and you try and justify it, or you try to hide it, and you try and do things despite it. And I know exactly how that feels, okay? So, step one, decide to take responsibility. Step two is understand the power of your mind. Now Tony Robbins says an amazing quote here. What Tony Robbins says is that everything in life is 100% true. Everything in life is 80% psychology, mindset, and 20% strategy, doing, like learning reading, learning writing. It's 20% that, 80% mindset. Because I tell you, I could not in a million years improve my reading 500% unless I had the mindset to improve it. It's the reasons why you want to do something is so much more important than the how. Because if you've got, okay, this is how I'm going to improve my English, lots of people got the how, but they haven't got the mindset to back it up, to go through the hard work, to create the neural pathways in their brain. So if you're doing something half-heartedly, believing it won't work, guess what? It won't work. But if you're doing the same thing wholeheartedly, thinking it will work with certainty, guess what? It will work. And what I mean by taking that power, understanding the power of your mind, meaning that your life is shaped by your psychology, 100%. The way you perceive the world is based on your psychology. Because two people perceive the world completely differently, even though they have very similar experiences. Why is that? Because there are things they value, because of things they believe. Because your life is controlled by your beliefs, your values. Those forces control your whole life, how you view the world. and we can get really in depth into them, but understand that this is the power that controls everything. Because if you had the right beliefs, if you had the right values at the start, you wouldn't be watching this video. You'd have found the strategy, you would have worked hard and done it. When I say the right beliefs and the right values, I don't mean you have the wrong beliefs. I mean the beliefs and the values that will help you overcome all these challenges and be able to work. That's what I mean by that. And in order to create them, we can go through the process here. It's so valuable to create the right beliefs to go forward. But in step number 2, you just need to surrender to the fact that it's your mind controlling you, it's your belief, it's your values that ultimately got you here. In order to get somewhere else, it's your beliefs and your values that can do that. Because once you change them, your whole life changes. And the interesting thing here, you don't have to change it drastically. You don't have to say, okay, I'm a vegetarian, I'm going to become a meat eater. Not a drastic change, just a millimetre change. Just saying, oh, that's from believing I can't improve to I can improve with just hard enough work. It's a millimetre change. But millimetre, a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, you mean a year from now, you end up in a completely different destination a year from now if you didn't do this, if you didn't take minute change, okay? So step number 2 is surrendering and understanding the power of the mind, okay? Now number 3. Step number 3. So first off, we take responsibility over your life. We understand, okay, it's a mindset game. It's not a strategy game, it's a mindset game. And once I solve my mindset, strategy will be easy. Okay, that's step number 2. Step number 3 is actually doing a certain strategy to find out this mindset. Now, identify and change your limiting story. That's step number 3. Identify and change your limiting story. We all have a limiting story stopping us. And what do I mean when I say limiting story? All a limiting story is a belief about ourselves or a belief about the world. A belief and a story are practically the same things. Now, beliefs. What are beliefs? What are beliefs? I'm asking you that. What would you say your definition of beliefs are? Have a think, I'm going to tell you them and see if it's true or not. All a belief is a feeling of certainty about something. I feel certain about this thing. I feel certain. I don't mean to be any offensive or if you're religious, complete respect. But you feel certain about your God. You feel certain about your religion. The certainty is very, very, very high, but you feel certainty about that. That's a belief. Now, a value, having values are your guiding forces. You know what I mean? Everyone has values. There are values they want to move towards and the values they want to move away from. Some people's values is a venture at the top of their values list. That means if they meet this value, they want to do that thing. But some people have a venture at the very bottom of the values. They're moving away from the values. That means if it's something else, a venture, they definitely don't want to do it because they value something else. And in this training, we're not going to get deep into the values and about how they human collide and dealing with that. We can get into a belief, which is just a story. Another way of saying belief is a story we tell ourselves. Because the story you tell yourself is what's stopping you getting what you want. It's fact. The story you tell yourself what stops you getting what you want. Another way of saying this is if you believe you can and if you believe you can't, guess what? You're both right. For example, if I believe I couldn't pass the C in English, guess what? I'm right. If I believe I could pass the C in English, guess what? I'm right as well. It's our beliefs that change it. Let me tell you an interesting story. I was with my a group of kids from my sixth form, and about 4 of them didn't pass their GCSEs, even though they tested back in year 11 before they went to sixth form. About when they're like 16, now they're 17 in sixth form, and about 4 of them didn't pass, and 4 of them were retaking it, and this is about the 3rd time they've retooken their GCSE for English. I remember there were the same people in my classes learning the same sort of things. And I remember I passed it technically first time, my GCSEs, because I didn't retake it a bunch of times, but they retook it. And when I passed it, they didn't. I was looking at them, I was like, they're in the same English lessons, they can read and write perfectly. They can read what's on the board, they can do this work unbelievably easy. There was actually one individual kid in there that was a lot smarter than average. You could just tell, academically very, very, very good. But why the hell could he, who's academically intelligent, gifted, could not pass a simple level C GCSE, but someone like me, who's statistically very severe, one of the worst in England, could? What's the difference? It's like running 100 metres with someone with two completely able legs, and then someone that's supposed to be in a wheelchair without a wheelchair, just using his arms. That's me, person with real legs, as you mean. Why could I beat him in a race? I'm going to tell you what's really interesting. I was thinking that, and I found it out. Because I remember listening on the buses we used to go, on the buses we used to travel around, I always used to hear their conversations. They used to talk about, and a lot of conversations were just making mick out of people, mick out of the English teachers, saying, oh, this person such and such, and saying, this is such a stupid lesson. We don't need to learn English. I know how to read, I know how to write, I'll never pass. Look, I failed it 3 times, this is useless, I hate school, I hate learning, this ain't for me, I'm stupid. And they would say these things consistently to one another. And if they said it to one another, who knows what they say inside their head about this learning? Who knows what they said inside their self? You have to realise that, and I realised, okay, they said these things, which meant they believed certain things, they had certain stories they told themselves, stopping them from passing English, stopping them from putting the work in that would require them to pass English. Because they didn't do any of the homework, and when the test came, they didn't put any effort in. Because they didn't believe they would pass it. And that's how I could pass it and they couldn't, because they had a negative story. It was not their ability, it was their story they told themselves. Because so many people in your situation with the same and worse abilities and that has achieved what you want to achieve to a very high level. But the only difference between them and you are the stories that you told yourself. They said a different story to themselves, therefore they got out and they had different actions. Because to get anything you want in life, you have the resources inside yourself. You have the brain is incredible. The human life is incredible. We can do incredible things. Think how far we've come in the last 100 years. It's unbelievable what humans are capable of. But it's not a matter of what we're capable of. It's a matter of what we will do. And that's determined by our psychology. And by psychology, about how we do it, okay? So how can you, I've rambled on, how can you define your limiting story? How can you know what your limiting story is? It's very, very simple. All you've got to say is this: I can't get what I want because, for example, my limiting story I had about why I can't improve my English is that my limiting story. I can't improve my English because I've got severe dyslexia. I spent 8 years of my life with the best help, with the best support in the world, and I've only got this little result. So I'll never be able to get a bigger result with a lot less time, with a lot less help, with a lot less support. That was my limiting story. And guess what? That story was true. These facts are true. But I let that story use me. So I decided to change my story. I said, what if now? What if I can do it? My story changed from what if I could do it? What if I give it everything I got? What if I could be an example to everyone else who that I don't have to let dyslexia stop me, and I prove to myself that. So right now, write down your limiting story. Say whatever your challenge is. You can't read, you can't write, you can't get a job promotion, you can't get a job, you can't pass that grade. You can't socialise, you can't be friends, you can't even go out to the shops. Whatever your daily challenge is, I want you to write it down. Or whatever your problem is, I want you to write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. And I can't get this because. I can't talk to people because. I can't even get the job because. When you say the because, whatever comes after because is your limiting story. I can't get a job because I haven't got the grades. I can't be friends with this person because he doesn't like me. I can't even earn this much money because of the government or because of financial situations. This is the limiting story you tell yourself. And you have to realise that this limiting story is limiting you, and change it by flipping it on its head and saying, okay, this is my limiting story, and what's the opposite to the story that I can believe? And what I did, I realised my limiting story, and when I wrote it down, if you saw me when I was like 17, this whole wall behind me, all these walls, be covered with stuff I've wrote about who I want to become, and that would see that every single day. That's what you have to do. You have to really make it clear in your head. But this is my new story. This is my old story. It's limiting me in this way. And this is my new story. And every time you catch yourself thinking the old story, snap out of it. Do something called pattern interrupt. Do something crazy. Snap out of it. Say something silly, and then look at the new story. Say, this is my story. New story was like, I have social anxiety. That's why I can never talk to people. New story. The new story is, I'm not ready yet. I need to push myself more. The more I stretch myself, the more confident I'm going to get. And yes, it doesn't feel good the first time. And yes, you won't feel good the first couple of weeks. But over the couple of months, you'll create a new identity. about learning English. Yes, I have dyslexia, yes, I struggle, but ultimately I can improve it as much as hard work I can. I'll not let English stop me. And the new story is, listen, I want to be a role model to everyone else. I want to be a role model to myself. I want to prove to my kids that I will not let my dyslexia stop me, to be an example to them. Having this new story, and that will change your life forever. It's so important, guys. I hope you're really listening and understand. Okay, that's step 3. Identify and change your limiting story, okay? And that's the main bulk. And here we go in step number 4. Step number 4 is understanding where these limiting stories come from, so you can appreciate them. Where do they come from? And now, simply, our stories, our beliefs we tell ourselves, and how you change this is in step number 3, by changing the story you tell yourself. Once you change your story, also take responsibility and take new action. If you're unconfident, push yourself to be confident. If you can't read, push yourself to try and learn to read, or try and find some different strategies to work around it, okay? So that's step number 4. Step number 5 is so important. Now, I want you to listen to this. This is how anyone can achieve anything worthwhile. Now, this is a very unbelievably simple formula I'm going to teach you, and it's transformed my life drastically. Because if you want to achieve something, you have to commit to this process. And if you don't consciously commit to it and you achieve it, you subconsciously committed to it. Because if you think about, if you wanted something in your life, for example, if you really wanted something really bad, and for example, you wanted a certain car, you wanted a certain job, you wanted a certain piece of clothing, you really wanted to pass a certain grade or something, there's a process everyone goes through. First thing they do is they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they want. Oh, I really want that car, I really want that grade, I really want to be friends with that person, to go out with that person. We have an idea of what we want. Okay, so the first thing we fundamentally do. First thing. Second thing we do is, we know what we want, and the second thing we do is we know why we want it. Say, I want to do this, why? Because it'll make me feel this way, it'll make me feel good about myself. It'll make me feel confident, so I know exactly what I want, I know why I want it, because that gives you a lot of motivation, a lot of drive. And the third thing is, I'm going to take massive action to go out of that person. I'm going to speak to them, I'm going to send texts to them, I'm going to speak to their friends to find out what he likes, or whatever. Or for example, you want to pass that grade, I'm going to take massive action, I'm going to spend time after school, I'm going to chat to smart kids in the class, whatever. To get a job, you take action. To do it, take massive action. And then guess what, the fourth thing is so critically important, it's where everyone gets stuck. So they know what they want, they know why they want it, they take massive action to get it. But when they're at this point, those people get stuck, because they take massive action, and guess what, majority of the time, that massive action doesn't work. But if you do the secret that I'm going to tell you, it's not a secret, it's basic, but people don't realise the power of it, is changing your approach. Realising it doesn't work and changing your approach. Evaluating, saying, is this action getting me to what I want or further away? Saying, this action is not getting me to that job, that career, that relationship, that car. Let's change my approach to do it. Okay, how can you change your approach? Let's try this action, let's try this action. And you try to change that action to achieve it, and that's step number 4. And that's how anyone achieves anything in life. Now let me ask you a question. If we change our action to get our goal, and if that doesn't work, are we going to give up? How long do you think, if, like, for example, this is another scenario of how this method works, is if you're a mum, yeah, and you've just had a baby, plopped out, and it's trying to walk, how many times would you give that baby learning to try to walk? Would you say, oh, tried and failed 4 times, saying, oh, my baby can't walk, he'll never be able to walk, just sit on a chair and keep walking and never be able to walk again? You'd be like, no, that doesn't happen. And so if I had a baby, he or she is going to keep on trying until they walk. There's no give up. No wonder why everyone in the world walks. Because they keep on trying. It's about, if you try something that doesn't work, you try something else, you try something else, you try something else, until you get what you want. There's this strategy here. If you change your mindset, then you have to use this particular strategy to complete all these challenges you have. Also, these challenges are not negative, they can make you grow. Okay, so here's the step. Step number 1, know exactly what you want. For example, not being able to read or write emails. You want to be able to read emails and write emails, okay? Here's my goal: read or write emails. Why do I want to do it? I want to do it because then I could be able to get that promotion in my job. I'll be able to stop failing in this area of my life. My boss will stop having a go at me, and I feel good. I feel confident. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, how am I going to get that? So I'm struggling with my emails. I know why I want to do it. What's massive action I'm going to take? Okay, I can get some software on the computer. I can get some Dragon software to have the voice recognition to speak through it. Okay, download the Dragon software, pay for it, speak into it. Oh, the Dragon software doesn't work, or it's not as good as I thought it would be. Okay, what else can I do? What else can I do to do it? Can I be friends with someone that can help me spell correct the work? Can I have a list of common words that I use that I spell for you? Can I go on some dyslexia courses? Can I even find out this new information? And then you try something, if it doesn't work, you try something again and again and again until it works. That's the 4 steps. And if you 5 steps of completing all these challenges. And if you go through every single one of them, you can achieve anything. So let's go through them, okay? What are your challenges? I want you to really look back at the beginning of this talk we had. What are your daily challenges you go through every single day that you want to get rid of? Enough's enough. I don't want to keep on going through this challenge. I want to be able to free this challenge up. Therefore, I have more time and energy to do things I love and things that will be most beneficial. So, okay, get rid of these challenges, like with emails, with socializing, with traveling, with getting lost, with these bits of work. Okay, do that. And remember, there's 5 steps we can go through. Step number 1, whatever your challenge is. Step number 1, take responsibility. Okay, this is your challenge, whatever it is. Take responsibility for it. Okay, I'm responsible for it to change. I'm responsible for it to change. I'm going to do it. Take responsibility and believe you can do it. Okay, number 1. Number 2, understand the power of your mind. Understand that you've got yourself here, and it's this mindset, it's the beliefs, and it's the values, the story you tell yourself about why you've got yourself here. And the only way to change it is to first start working on the mindset. Because let me tell you something, if you try and change it without changing this thing inside your head, it's going to be a million times more harder, and the chances it won't work. But if you fundamentally change your head to take on 100% responsibility, there's nothing, I'm telling you this as a fact, there's nothing that can stop you. Okay? So step number 2, power of the mind. Realizing it's your beliefs and values you have to change. Step number 3, identify your limiting story and change it to an empowering story. Okay? We've read through some brief details on how to do it. Say, I can't get what I want because that's the limiting story. Get rid of it and change it and condition it, okay? That's step number 3. Step number 4 is understanding why you believe what you do. And now this is such important in terms of just give yourself a sense of clarity and gives you more responsibility and more understanding of yourself. But okay, I had look back in the past. Okay, I had these experiences, and with these experiences, I took this meaning from the experiences and caused these actions, and that went in a big circle. Okay, and step number 5 is you go through what's called the ultimate success formula. The ultimate success formula is 1, know exactly what you want. Number 2, know exactly why you want it. Number 3, take massive action. Don't daddle. Take massive action now to do it, okay? And step number 4 is keep changing your approach until you get the desired outcome. And that's it. After you do that process on all of your daily challenges, everything just breezes past, and that's what I did to improve my confidence. That's what I did to get really good at boxing. That's exactly what I did to learn my English, because that's stories that I couldn't learn, and I changed those stories. Then I took massive action, and guess what? I changed my approach multiple times throughout the day to make it better, to improve it. And that's exactly how I write a book. The strategy was, okay, every third word I write has a red line under it. Spell check can't even spell check my work. And so there's 3 people worked on the book, and 1 person spent hundreds of hours working on the book tirelessly with me to get it done. How did I do that? I did it by, my strategy was, I'm going to tell everyone in the world I'm writing a book. Because the people who helped me was 1, I was travelling in Nepal, as part of that volunteer VSO trip. It was amazing. And with loads of UK people. And I told everyone there, I was like, look, I'm writing a book. Not in their face, but just get to know me, I'm writing a book, it's really important to me. But I'm struggling, and they look at it and say, oh no, this ain't a book, this is random letters together. And then we work on it, spell correcting the first couple of chapters. And then after that, I had my dad help me for a little bit. I sent it a bit to my dad, he was like, okay, let's do it. And then finally, I said to this person, I was working at personal training in a gym, and I was personal training one of my clients, and I told her about it, and she's like, oh my god, really? And she looked at it and said, oh, I'll help you out, this little bit, this little bit, this little bit, and eventually I got her hooked, and it's like, this is a great book, and carried on working on it. But that only happened, those 3 people who helped me work on it, ideally one of them was family, that only happened after telling 300 people about the book. And that's took my massive action to improve. I told loads of people. And I didn't ask them to help me work on the book. I said, look, this is what I'm struggling with. Not if you can help me out. Just, if they want to help out, they know. But guys, I was only using this strategy I'm teaching you right now to get what you want in life. And don't let dyslexia limit you. Don't let dyslexia limit you. And there's so many things that I want to add value to, and so many things I want to go really, really deep on. But if you follow my content, whether it was on a podcast, whether it's on a YouTube channel, whether you're part of my Conquering Dyslexia Conquerors community, the top strategies, the top things, go and do it. Listen, I've got a training, a blueprint training. It's Conquering Dyslexia / blueprint. That's how you get there. But guys, I'm really bad at editing videos. I am. I don't have a good finish, because I'm so passionate about these videos, and I'm so want to have you learn these things, because this has transformed my life, and I've known it can transform so many other people's lives. And this isn't common dyslexia knowledge. This isn't common dyslexia knowledge. I didn't learn this going through a school. I didn't learn this going through a dyslexia conference. I learned this by researching it myself. I learned this by going out and saying, how does life work? And realising how life works and applying it to my own life, and improving, and me teaching that to other dyslexic people to change the dyslexia community. Alright guys, I've said enough, and I look forward to seeing you soon.